So you were a drill instructor, as you
Yes.
mentioned. Have you had any of your prior recruits find you, or because if any of you were a recruit of Gunny Claus, and I can't imagine just the like. I don't know if it's PTSD or it's like, am I seeing it right? Because like you're getting blasted, and like that's your initial. As we all go through boot camp, that's your initial introduction to the Marine Corps. Is you're getting torn down. You have drill instructors yelling in your face, training you up, and then you see. And I don't mean it in a bad way, but it's just seeing them do something different. It's always interesting to see.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely, if you asked when I was serving, if you would ask any Marines if they ever thought I would be doing this, they would be like, there's no way in the world. That's not how he is.
Yeah.
And so I was, like I said, I was at the Marine Corps Marathon, and one of my Marines that worked for me in '94 decided to join me and run the marathon.
Okay.
And so I had my uniform with me, and he became my unofficial photographer at the event, because people come up and want a picture and want to talk to me. So he became my unofficial photographer, and he got to see that change, because when I'm me, I'm just smoking and joking, having a good time. But when I start putting the uniform on and I start getting into the mentality of being Gunny Claus, and my vocabulary changes, because, as a Marine, we say hello to each other. We say Semper Fi.
Yeah.
Right. But as Gunny Claus, I say Semper Festivus.
Okay.
Festivus for the rest of us.
Yeah.
Right. Because I want to get into that mindset and push that out there for people. Another one I'll say gung ho ho.
I love that one.
Because as Marines, we say gung ho. We work together. We're going to get it accomplished.
No, yeah.
But since I work for Santa, I throw an extra one in there for gung ho ho.
I like that.
And then, there's things that I'll write when I send emails and I contact people. You probably saw a couple of them in stack presents or something. And so I do that. And so that's the transition. And so there is a definite difference between the way I was then and now. But I did have one of my first platoon as a drill instructor. I did another podcast, Urban Valor.
Okay.
And it was on YouTube, and I get a cryptic message on Instagram with a picture that I don't recognize, with a name I have no clue what it is.
Yeah.
And it basically just said, "Hey," and I'm like, "Okay, who's hey? What's this?"
Yeah.
And I was about to delete it and block him, and I was like, maybe not. So I replied, "Hey," and the next message is, "Do you know who this is?" And I'm like, I'm about to delete it.
Yeah.
And second later, picture pops up, and it was my guide from my first platoon.
No shit. That's funny.
And found me because of that podcast. And so I talked to him, and he went officer. He became a major, retired as a major.
Wow. Okay.
Got out of the Marine Corps, went out to civilian law enforcement, retired from civilian law enforcement, has a wife and a family, 4 kids, and I'm just like, wow, you did really good. Amazing.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you did. It's because of you. And I'm like, I taught you to be a Marine, basically trained Marine. That's what my job. That's what boot camp gets. You graduate. That's you.
Yeah.
Everything else is on you. You did all of everything else. But because you're such a role model sometimes, you ask any Marine who their drill instructors are, and they'll always remember him.
Yeah.
And so, that's still stuck with him. And so he went into civilian law enforcement because I had been a military policeman.
Yeah.
And so, just the way things go.
Yeah, I think it's part of the reason I ask is because I've only been out for about 4 to 5 years now. So it's weird because, when I go in the Marine Corps, I picture, the first sergeants being the disciplinarians. I picture the officers trying to run an organization and all these other bits and pieces. But when I'm out now, and as I see some of them going out, I'm seeing some of them, they have TikToks, or I'm seeing them do family stuff with their kids. And it's, you realize that they're just normal people like the rest of us. Some of them, they go on to be successful. Some of them have hobbies and interests like you do, being a motorcycle guy and other stuff like that. And we forget that, there is the Marine, there is the sailor, there is the soldier, whatever, but there's also the human being that is, whoever.
Yeah, that was the funny thing. I was waiting in line at the event at the birthday over at Sun Tavern, and I was talking to a sergeant major, and this woman was there, and one of the things that came up is young Marines on their first enlistment are in so awe of everything, and they're still learning everything, that they forget that the gunny or the sergeant major or the CO or whoever started out as a recruit or a lieutenant in TBS and had to learn all that stuff. They didn't just show up day one and at this rank.
Yeah.
We did what everybody else did. You know, when I was in boot camp, I had to clean the head. I had to clean, make my rack. You know, drill instructors, if I didn't lock my foot locker, my stuff was going all over the place.
Yep.
You know, I did something stupid. My senior drill instructor caught me, and I may have gotten an M16 upside the head. You know, but you know what? I'll never forget that, and I never did that again.
Yeah, no. So speaking of, I assume most people, especially like now with the whole thing you have going on, most people just know you, I assume, for being Gunny Claus. But what was the actual career like for you in the military prior to Gunny Claus? Prior to you, I don't want to say like world famous celebrity, but you know, people just know you as Gunny Claus. But what was your actual Marine Corps career like that most people don't really know or understand?
So, you know, crazy thing is when I went through, the Marine Corps was funding the Osprey by itself. Congress had cut the funding.
Interesting. Okay.
Because it wasn't working as well as they had to anticipate. It wasn't as good as the Harrier at the time.
And this was in the like 80s, 90s?
80s. And it was also the time that Ronald Reagan was building the military. So he was throwing a lot of money at the military. And so, amazingly enough, I came in the military under what was called the Quality Enlistment Program. So I got $4,500 to join.
Really? Okay.
I got corporal in 18 months. Guaranteed 4-digit MOS. Guaranteed East Coast, West Coast, or overseas.
Marine Corps, what happened? Like, where is this now?
Yeah, nobody offers it now, but back then everybody was offering it. They were throwing money at everything. And so I picked military police.
Yeah.
And this is, you know, just one of the crazy things. There's the toxic water at Camp Lejeune.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I forgot that was going on then.
I never went to Camp Lejeune. Did not go to MCT. I went straight from boot camp to my MOS school.
Okay.
So I never went there.
Damn.
And so, you know, there was a short period of time because of those circumstances that Marines didn't go there.
Yeah.
And so it was one of the things that, you know, fortunately for me, unfortunately for others, I didn't get there. From MOS school, I went overseas. I went to Okinawa, 3rd FSG. Yeah. Because I wanted overseas. I wanted to deploy. I wanted to see the world. I mean, you're joining the Marines. Let's go somewhere. Let's do something.
Absolutely. And
so from there, I went to Korea, Team Spirit, Bear Hunt, deployed there, went down to the Philippines for an exercise. Some people might know the exercise. It was called Kennel Guard 87. And a Navy SEAL who may or may not have done things wrong, but was apprehended and placed in Leavenworth, wrote a book about it called Red Cell. Marchenko.
Whoa. Okay. Is there lore that I'm not aware of that I need to study?
we went against him and his team, and you know, then we redeployed back to Okinawa. Okay. Had a great time. So instead of just doing 1 year, I did 2 years. Went to Thailand also. Since I had extended, they messed up my orders to come back to the States. So I had no orders to come back. They just, like Marine Corps fashion, forgot about me.
You're just in limbo in Thailand.
Had no orders, had nowhere to go. And so they added me to another Marine's orders. And they said, well, we'll fix it when we get back to the States. And so I'm on leave. And I get this really nice telegram, actual telegram from...
An actual telegram?
An actual telegram.
Jesus.
Which, you know, nobody has anymore, nobody uses anymore. And it goes, report in immediately to MCRD San Diego.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Did I mess up that bad? I got to go back to boot camp? What? And so I went into the recruiter's office that was there, talked to the sergeant major. I'm like, hey, sergeant major, I'm on my leave. Here's my leave papers. Here's the orders I had. And they're saying, you know, I got to go in now. And they're like, hold on. Calls the monitor. The monitor's like, not a problem. Finish your leave.
Okay.
So I go in. I check into my unit. I'm working. The Marine whose orders I had been on is at Camp Pendleton. Okay. So now I talk to him, and he's like, where are you? I'm like, what do you mean, where am I? I'm working. He's like, no, you're not. You're a deserter. Because nobody told the unit that got switched from that I had been switched to another unit. So they're reporting me as a deserter while I'm working at my base.
Oh my God.
You know, so I was like, oops, hello.
Yeah. Like, is everything okay, please?
I'm getting my paycheck, so I'm okay, you know.
Dude, I would not want to be in that position, especially back in the late 80s, early 90s, whatever year that was. That had to have been insane. Like,
it was an interesting few days.
Yeah.
You know, and then did my time there, went up to Camp Pendleton, Marine Corps base, 1st Marine Division. 1st Marine Division, I went became a drill instructor, went down to MSRD San Diego.
Okay, there we go.
From there, I went out to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri to be a military police instructor. Finished that. Told the monitor I wanted a deployable unit, so I got sent to 1MLG, Camp Pendleton, deployed to Iraq, where I was at the TQ, and I was at Cop Rawa, where I was in charge of a police transition team. Came home, and I retired.
I will ask you about that because I was the last part when I was listening to some of your other shows, you were talking about people debating you on like training the Iraqi police force, I think it was. Yeah. But why everybody has it usually, but why the Marines specifically? You might have dived into it when you were talking about your family lore a little bit from another show, but why the? I mean, because there's all the other branches, but why the Marines specifically?
Why did I join the Marines?
Yeah.
So everybody has those moments where they pick a branch, and a lot of people will say, oh, it was because of this or that, but a lot of the media, when you watch movies, you see TV, you hear of things, you can see that the Marines are in a higher regard than any other branch. And we do more, and it's not going to be as easy as another branch. And so one of the things I saw was John Wayne's movies, Sands of Iwo Jima, Flying Leathernecks, so those movies. Then as a kid, I was reading, some comic books. One of the comic books is The Punisher, where the character, the original, when it first came out, he was a Vietnam Marine.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so, it's quite a few years now. And so they keep updating it. So now the current one is a OEF veteran, but back then it was that. And so you see that, and then you talk to people that have served, and the Marines always stand out wherever you go.
Yeah.
If you go somewhere and somebody has been in the Marine Corps, you can tell that they've been in the Marine Corps. And then you talk to somebody else, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I was in the Army, or I was in the Air Force, I was whatever," and you can't see that pride in them.
No. Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, well, like a lot of things, if I'm going to go into something, I'm going to do something. I'm going to do it 100%. I'm going to do the best. And so the Marine Corps is that.
Yeah, exactly. And plus, I don't know if it really did, but because you mentioned, like with Reagan building up the military, it was slightly different back then. But I imagine the patriotic fever back then, and like the American versus Soviet Union propaganda. I mean, was that also driving it a little bit?
So when I was younger, there was a time after Korea, definitely during the Vietnam era, where the United States wasn't as patriotic. The military wasn't as in high regard. And so that really didn't change until 1976, when we had the 200th birthday of the Marine Corps, or the United States, the centennial.
Yeah.
And so that's when that started changing. I really didn't look at the pay side of it, how much money Reagan was putting in, because, it's going to all the branches. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting it. So I really didn't look at that. I did look at, I talked to the Navy recruiter. I had pretty good scores, and so they wanted me to run nukes.
Okay.
And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be in a submarine. I'm 6 foot tall. I don't want to be, stuck in a submarine.
No.
I don't mind. I'm not claustrophobic. It's just the fact that I'm going to hit my head on everything. I'm not going to fit in the rack.
Yeah.
Everything's, it's just not designed for my height.
No.
Walked over to the Army side. I talked to the Army. Once again, the Army's like, what do you want to do? And they offered me helicopter pilot.
Okay.
Go the warrant officer route, become a helicopter pilot, because once again, pretty good score.
Yeah.
And back then, they were just coming out with the scopes for the sights. Well, when they first came out, the scope is only on the left eye. And so you have to be right eye dominant so you can see. If you're left eye dominant, all you see is the scope.
Yeah.
And I'm left eye dominant, so I would have crashed if I tried to fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do anything, do very good.
So if you're left eye dominant, does that mean you also shoot left-handed rifle range?
I'm right-handed.
Oh, damn.
So it really, really can mess you up. So my first qualification at the rifle range, I got a 191. I barely qualified.
Ooh, okay.
Barely.
Yeah.
But when I did retire, I was I got to remember these right. 11th award expert rifle, 10th award pistol, or vice versa, something like that.
Okay, but nonetheless, a drastic improvement from where you started from.
Every year I improved. Yep.
Well, there we go.
Yep.
And so I'll bounce back to